Hey guys, welcome back to the Grant Mitt Podcast, episode number 84. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how to build your self-confidence. When you look at the game of life, almost nothing is more important or stems to the root cause of why people aren't successful, why they end up in the wrong relationships, in the wrong companies, or don't ascend to the heights that they actually want to ascend to. It always seems to go back to two things: confidence and self-esteem, which typically go hand in hand. Now, what I've learned from just life in general, but mainly through hiring people and developing them from all different types of fields, backgrounds, ages, and every demographic you can imagine, is that a lot of people, if not almost every single person, does not grow up around an environment that breeds confidence and high self-esteem. And the reason of this is actually quite simple. It's just that simply, if you look at the data of people who are actually truly quote unquote successful in their lives and fulfilled and happy, it's a very low percentage. And so you have a massive group of people teaching the wrong behaviors, the wrong way of thinking, and the wrong steps that people need to take to actually do meaningful work in life. And what I've learned is you'll give maybe like a vote of confidence to someone, or you'll say something that's really kind, or you'll say, you know what, I have a feeling you're about to get promoted, or you know what, I have a feeling that you're just going to absolutely kill it this year. And you'll see their face light up. And then you'll go back and you'll get a report and you'll look at their numbers a couple weeks later, and you'll see that their sales has gone through the roof, or that their productivity and the way that they're dealing with clients, or the way that they're doing managing these projects or handling these problems, it's improved. And I think the reason is that people lack confidence and self-esteem, not because it's some gene that they grew up with and their type of person just doesn't have confidence, but because they were told over and over and over again since they were a little kid that they can only do certain things, or they're good at these things and bad at these. And when you hear those things enough times, you eventually start to believe it. One thing that I can't thank my mom and dad enough is that through all the hardships, through all the different things that we had been through, because I never grew up around money. We were never some rich family growing up. We went through tons of different financial struggles and different things, which I'm mostly just going to try to keep private. But the one thing about them too is that they really built up my brother and I's self-esteem. One thing that my mom did early on is she discovered the book The Secret, which I'm sure you guys have all heard of. And she made my brother and I watch The Secret movie, listen to the book. She even bought us all the books for our family. I'm a Christian. We made sure that we'd go to the right church with a positive pastor. And she would always fill the room with positivity and positive affirmation. So growing up, I blindly believed that I could do crazy things that I shouldn't believe I could do, because of my parents, who, while we didn't have all these things and we couldn't just pick up the phone and just make this call and then suddenly get all these things, even without that, because there was so much positive affirmation and confidence being instilled into us, I believed it. And so even through times of hardship and loss, and not getting the outcome maybe that I wanted to, whether it was in business or whether it was in sports or in other areas of my life, I was able to still have high self-esteem and believe that I could persist past it. So what I try to bring into my organizations and my companies is the bulk of people that enter, I find, are broken in some capacity. There's few that aren't, but the bulk of people are coming in with broken relationships. Maybe they've had success in their career, but maybe they're not where they want to be. Maybe they don't have the right friends, they're not in the right environment, or they've experienced specific traumas that I will never know about. And so I'll notice the change in their personality, their confidence, and their esteem over about a 3 to 4 month period. Because one thing that we really take seriously is, whether it's my leadership team, myself, whatever the case is to constantly speak positively and to expand their way of thinking and expand their brain to think bigger, think better of themselves, but also equip them with the skill sets that it takes to be successful. When someone has never heard these things in their entire life, and then suddenly they get told all of these positive things and their brain expands and their way of thinking gets bigger, they vastly change the way that they operate. The actions that they take, the effort that they have, and the success that they have in life, not only in the specific company, but just in the world, changes forever. So much so that we've had people that came into our company that were great people, but were not right fits. We parted ways, and they'd go somewhere else, and a year later, they'd call back or email or send a message on social media and say, hey, like, thank you so much. I know it didn't work out with you guys, but now I'm with this company, or now I'm in this business, and I'm absolutely killing it. And I would never have been able to do that if I didn't learn from you guys. And it's because people need confidence. Now, the most important thing to building your self-esteem and confidence, before I break down the steps of, building confidence, doing these different things, is you have to stop being a victim. This is not me telling you guys that what you went through or the things that people said or did about you is okay or justified, because it's not. But at the end of the day, it's your life, and you choose to view your world the way that you choose to view it. It is your reality. That's why we could take two people, put them in the exact same experience. One will say it's the worst day ever, and the next person will say it's the best day ever. You choose your own reality. So if you cannot let go of past traumas, or people that did you wrong, or people that said wrong things or lied about your name and it hurts you, if you can't let that go, you cannot actually build up not only your self-esteem, but confidence in the ability to move forward and create a better life for yourself. You have to forgive your parents, the people you grew up with, the old boss you worked with, or the friend that betrayed you or did something wrong. That doesn't mean you're saying it's okay what they did. You're just choosing not to live with that guilt anymore and move forward. And if you cannot do that, you will constantly live over and over again in that same reality that puts you in the space that maybe you don't want to be in. So you have to choose to let that go. Okay? So first is, do not accept the identities that the world has placed on you today. I want you to think back and go, who told you to believe what you believe now? You ever heard people say, oh, he's super athletic. Oh, he's great at talking in front of people. Oh, she's just really shy. Oh, think about it. Some people are like, oh, I'm an introvert. Are you really an introvert, or did you just tell yourself that tens of thousands of times? Think about it. Are you really not good at sales because that's just what you were told and you just chose to believe that? The reason why I say this is people will put you down a path that serves their interest or their ego to protect themselves if you let them. And it's important that you forge your own path. You choose the life that you want to live. Become the person that you want to become. You get to do anything that you want in this life. You can do it. You can move across the country. You can completely reinvent yourself and start a completely different career, or go find a better group of friends or better relationships that change your life for the better. You can do that, but you need to forge that path, and you need to decide for yourself that that is what you want. One thing that was an incredible lesson for me, and my life did a complete 360 when I figured this out, is growing up, I was in an environment where the bulk of the people in that community, in that neighborhood, all worked for other people. And their means and the way that they became, quote unquote, successful was through getting a degree, working your way up at a company, which is not a bad thing to do. Because I could have the whole nother 30-minute podcast about how you can use that to your advantage. But for me, I knew, oddly, since I was 8 or 9 years old, that I always wanted to run my own business. Or I wanted to choose my own life. And I remember as a kid, I would sit in the backseat of the car and I'd go, Dad, who makes the most money? How much do weatherman make? How much do this make? Who actually runs the company? What is their title? Oh, how do they become CEOs? Well, what do they do? And I would ask all these questions. And I would study because, as a kid, you pick up a lot of different things because you're learning, you're absorbing everything that's around you. And what I quickly found out is the narrative and the game plan that everyone else was trying to get me on, while it might be beneficial for other people, it wasn't for me. And I didn't truly ever decide this till I was 22 years old. And at the time, I was in New York. I was at an extremely low point in my life. And I remember walking down Atlantic Avenue in downtown Brooklyn. If you live in New York, you probably know where that is. And I remember just saying, fuck it. My exact words, I was like, fuck it. I am done stressing about this shit. I am going to be my own person, and I'm going to make it happen. And it was the first time in my life I fully decided I am not going to live the life that other people set out for me. I'm not going to listen. I don't care how much money they got or who they know or what they did or what they didn't do. I'm going to start living my own life authentically for what makes me happy. And sometimes the downside to that decision is you have to take a couple steps backwards. You have to take a couple losses. It's going to be uncomfortable. But I can't tell you how much of a freeing feeling that was to experience that and to finally just do what I wanted to do. And it was in that next 6 to 12 months where I just freaking went all in on learning and developing and grooming myself to become the person I wanted to be. And two to 2.5 years later, I started my own business, ended up becoming extremely wildly successful. And it happened really quickly. The reason why it happened so quickly is I was already that person. I was just spending and investing all of this energy in places that I was not meant to be, with people I was not meant to be around. When you stop fighting who you actually are, that's when the growth happens. And it's like, even listening to this, right? My advice is to basically take no advice in many capacities, is to listen to yourself because you know what's best for you. You deep down know what you need to do. The details, the skill sets, the knowledge, yes, that's different. Learn that. But deep down, you know what you need to do. And sometimes we assume just because the people around us love us or care about us that they're right. Get advice from people who are winning at what they're doing. But even then, take it with a grain of salt because no one knows you like you. 2, control your own narrative. Right? This is important. And as I was rebuilding myself into who I actually was, one thing that I really learned was something called autosuggestion. It's in chapter 4 of the book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And another way to frame it is affirmations. Your subconscious brain does not know the difference between thought and reality. And they've done millions of tests on this. And that's why humans, for example, we can think about something sad and then feel sad for a long period of time. That's why we can watch a funny movie and all of a sudden we're really happy and cheerful. Most people suffer in just sheer imagination than in actual real life. And so what's interesting is we've all experienced autosuggestion and affirmation, even if you don't do it solely. You've experienced this through your friends, through your teachers, through your parents, and through people that are around you. You also have all experienced this through social media, through the mainstream media, and you were told and taught what to think, what you view as moral and immoral, and what you think is right and wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and lecture you guys on what I think is. I'm just going to tell you that you have those beliefs through autosuggestion. That's why I always tell people to question everything. So you've experienced this. This is why you think the way you think. Maybe that's great. Maybe that's bad. Maybe you want to improve it. That's for you to decide. But if your mom told you a negative thing over and over and over again, you likely believe it. You can't fault her. She's imperfect. Or if you have a friend that said something negative and you eventually believed it, can't fault them. Nobody's perfect. But my thing is, let's be accountable and start choosing and protecting ourselves, our mind, into what we believe and what people tell us. So the first thing that you do is protect yourself. Pull away from the world and start reaffirming who you are. Form your own identity. Okay, so let's say that you've had some self-esteem or some confidence problems. A key is to say that you are confident 1,000,000 times a day. I mean, I'm being theoretical, but I mean just literally over and over and over and over again until you believe it. If you want to get more fit, say that you are strong over and over and over again. If you've never had success before and you want to change your life, tell yourself you've been successful over and over and over again. And while you're doing that, visualize the story and the reality of you experiencing that. Because remember, your brain does not know the difference between reality and thought. So if your brain is programmed now to view yourself as someone who is confident, who is successful, well-spoken, and one of the most talented people in your field or industry that you're in, what are you going to slowly start being reprogrammed to believe? That? What are you going to start acting like? Okay? So if perception is reality and now you are acting, walking, and talking as if you are that person, what is the world going to start treating you as? A successful person. You see how this works? The whole point of this message is to stop allowing what other people said or did about you affect your life. And look, the more successful you become, the more things that you're going to hear. And that's okay. But if you cannot handle what someone's saying about you, you just need to get more mentally tough. You got to get over yourself. And you got to realize that if you're going to be successful, people are going to talk about you. It's part of it. It does not matter. Okay, number 3, keep the promises that you give to yourself. Confidence comes oftentimes from evidence. So for example, let's say that you're trying to learn a sport and you're struggling, but then all of a sudden, day 2 or day 3, you start making progress. What happens? You perk up, you get more excited. You're like, oh, I'm getting this down. This is exciting. You get little wins, and you get enough wins to keep you coming back. Confidence can start from extremely small things. For example, I was trying to get back into the gym because I used to play college football. I used to be more bulked up. I said, you know what, I'm going to focus. And one of my good friends, we have this accountability thing where I have my name, she has her name, and we have to mark what we worked out that day. And our goal and target is to get at least 5 days per week. And our rule is we just have to be there for at least 5 minutes. And what ends up happening is we always end up working out longer than this. So what I started doing is no matter what, number 1, I had someone to hold me accountable, but 2, I had to show up. There were some times I was wearing normal clothes and I said, damn, if I don't go, I'm going to miss my 5th day. And I literally would work out for 30 minutes in my normal clothes and I would not care because I was just so fearful of not actually coming through on my promises, right? And I was being held accountable, and she was the same thing. Next thing you know, it's been almost 9 weeks, and now it's become a lifestyle. And so each week that was passing, not only did it start incorporating into my lifestyle, but my confidence with working out or with hitting my targets or fulfilling my goals would increase. And so you guys have to be able to do the same, whether it's waking up on time, whether it's making the right amount of calls that you need to make to achieve your target in sales or for your business. You have to start earning the respect of yourself. One thing that's going to give you the ability to go after bold things, apply for the job that you're not qualified for, walk up to the girl that you're interested in, or becoming friends with a new group of people and putting yourself out there, it's going to take confidence. And humans can sense hesitancy and weakness. And so it's important that if you do not respect and trust yourself, and do not have self-confidence, believe in yourself, people are going to feel that energy subconsciously, and they're going to treat you differently because of it. So wherever you are right now, the most important thing out of all of this is to never, under any circumstances, no matter how hard life is right now, no matter what you've gone through, don't ever, ever let them take your confidence under any circumstances. The first and fastest way to beat someone in any competition is to steal their confidence. Once someone loses their confidence, they're unbelievably beatable. So it's important that no matter what you go through, taking losses, Dealing with difficult people and dealing with trials is a part of life, but that doesn't mean that your confidence needs to go away with it. Build your confidence, keep it, and you can utilize it to start actually achieving the things that you want to in life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Obviously, I'll see you guys again for episode 85. You can find me on all my social media channels at Grant Mitt. Also below, guys, I'm going to give you guys the link. If you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe to my brand new newsletter, where I provide you guys via email every Tuesday, 5 minutes worth of reading that can change and alter your life in business and in life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys again for episode 85. Thanks, guys.